Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. Today is March 15th, 2023, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
Hello out there. This is Ben Dickerson, your co-host. Free agency is now officially open. Obviously, there have been some moves made already because it was a legal tampering time a couple weeks before the official opening. So you've heard some things that normally you wouldn't be able to hear or wouldn't normally be able to be announced. But because it was legal tampering, they were able to announce them right away. But now you're going to see some contracts getting finalized and not just talk. Okay. And there's still going to be more moves being made. So let's get into the show. What's up?
All right, all right. Well, today, Ben, we're going to be at our page on Facebook, Ben and Barry on football, Facebook/BNBOF. You can find us there just like a website. And most of the information that we're going to talk about is actually here. But I want to kind of go into some information that I kind of distilled, Ben, because we were talking about the whole Lamar Jackson situation. And before I even go further into that, let me say again, this is Ben and Barry on football. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so that you'll get our information when it comes up, and make sure that you're following along, and please leave comments. We need some comments. That's one thing I really like to see more of. So what I did, Ben, we were talking about Lamar, and Lamar had a list of teams that were out on Lamar. They said, we're not going to pursue Lamar. And people were kind of surprised that, that would happen. And Lamar is a special situation. So I went back and I looked in Madden to look at the playbooks to get an idea about what the teams are actually running now and how many teams would be sort of already there for Lamar without having to do a lot of changes to their playbook. And I saw some really interesting stuff. I heard one commentator when they were talking about Lamar. She said Lamar actually ran on 30% of his plays, which was the most in the NFL. So if you go get Lamar, that's kind of what you're going to get, unless you are, going to coach him out of that and put him in a different system and have him discipline himself there, with that system. So when I look through the playbooks for all 32 teams, and again, Madden has a special agreement with the NFL, so they provide these playbooks to Madden, so they're not fictitious playbooks. I noticed that there were 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 teams that actually run the option right now. Out of 32, there's really only 9. Arizona, Baltimore, Buffalo, Cleveland, surprise, Kansas City, the Giants, which we talked about.
I don't know why you're laughing. That's obvious.
Well, I'm saying that's, Daniel Jones, Philly, San Fran, and Tennessee. So those are the teams that actually have the option in their playbooks right now, and probably only Baltimore, San Fran, and Tennessee are really looking for maybe will change their quarterbacks, and maybe
of the 9 teams that have the option in as part of their system, only 2 of those teams are still looking for a quarterback, or 3?
I'm saying 3 because I'm including Baltimore.
Okay.
Right? San Fran. Okay, I'm including San Fran. That's not out of the realm of possibility from what I'm hearing out there, even though I think it's out of the realm because we don't have any first-round draft picks. And Tennessee, I think if he, Tennessee is a team that could upgrade with Lamar without too much of a problem with the starting quarterback in place. But everybody else pretty much has their quarterback all set. It was very interesting that some of these teams that had pistol, I was assuming if you had the pistol in your playbook, you were running the option. Not true.
No.
A number of these teams, Carolina, Cincinnati, Dallas, Detroit, Houston, San Diego, Miami, the Jets and Philly have the pistol, but they don't run the option out of it. There's no option plays in their pistol formation. They run like the Giants and Philly run their option out of the shotgun. Now, it also became completely obvious, and it probably is obvious to most people just from the eye test, that the formation du jour is the shotgun nowadays. Of all the formations that each team has, over half of them are shotgun. The other really popular formation is the single back. I don't particularly use the single back a lot. I think you have to have a certain type of running back, to single back, unless you're running a lot of pulling guards and pulling tackles and things like that, that will replace the fullback. But most teams still have the I formation. 25 out of the 32 still run the I. So there's still a place for a fullback. And that's not including the strong I and the weak I, which again, utilizes the fullback. So the fullback does have a place. I like fullbacks. Obviously, with the Niners, we have a great fullback in Juszczyk. But I was a little surprised, that, it's still there. It's a basic fundamental formation. I was surprised that they had the pistol in as many teams' formation book that they didn't run the option. If you're a Madden person and you're looking to add the option to your, to your attack, you have now, which 9 teams to go with, at least for the 2023. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens in 2024. I'll look at them again and see what changes are there. But, it takes a special sort of skill or training to run the option. You just don't throw it at any, a quarterback who never did it and expect that he's going to master it in a short period of time. It's a little tricky even as a Madden player because the button sequences become a little more complicated. But your reads, now most teams are running the run pass option, the RPO. That's pretty popular. Okay, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about where the quarterback does the run. But even with the run pass option, and there's only maybe 1 or 2 that has a triple option in there. Most of them are just straight run options or RPOs in there. So that's kind of where these teams, where their head is at currently. Couple surprises. There are 4 teams who only have 2 formations. Shotgun and single back. They don't have any of the other formations. That's Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Indianapolis, and the Rams. They pretty much operate out of 2 formations. Arizona, Jacksonville, and Philly only operate out of 3. And Dallas has the most formations at 7. Everybody else is kind of in that 5 to 6 formation. They got.
Can I ask a question?
Pistol. Sure.
You getting this from Madden?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was telling you. This is a Madden discussion, but it was inspired by the seeming lack of interest in Lamar Jackson. And I was wondering what teams are really sort of already there to accept a real running quarterback and run that option with him. And there was only 9, Now, of the rest of the 32 teams, most of them have their quarterback in place. So there's not a lot of places for him to go, if they're going to run option. He's going to step into a few, where he's going to have to be a pocket quarterback, and unless they're going to really change their system for him. So that's what I'm looking for, to see what teams are going to step up. And I have an idea about whether they're option teams or not, and whether they're willing to change their system. And like I said to you, with the Niners, I noticed as the 2023 Madden came in, that they had options built into the playbook that were not there the year before. And that was like, when they knew Trey Lance, or when Trey Lance was planned on being the starter, that's, now they have all these options built in. But before that, they really didn't have them as part of the playbook. So that kind of knowing that they make these changes and they will make these adjustments, I just decided to take a quick look and see. But it is interesting just to kind of see who's doing what. If you're a Madden player, you kind of, if you're looking for a lot of formations, Dallas is the place to go. If you want to keep it simple, you got a couple places with only 2 or 3 formations. A lot of plays, you still might have the same number of plays, 26, 27 plays out of that playbook. Now, I know they have thousands of plays in their playbook, in real life, but, effectively, these are broken down to formations, and you get about 4 to 5 per formation in the game. So, and the other thing I noticed that was interesting, the teams like Miami, who came from teams like the Niners, have very similar playbooks. When I was looking at the formation, like this, I know these plays, I know these formations. So yeah, the Niners, they're really, really spreading. That Kyle Shanahan tree is really spreading throughout the NFL. So it's going to be interesting to see how that happens. Let's get ready to move over to free agency, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on with that. So free agency, Benny. I just had to stop here for a second. They cut Zeke, Benny. They kicked Zeke to the curb. Zeke had to go.
We were kind of expecting that, I think. I think even Cowboy fans were expecting that.
$16.4 million cap hit. And running backs are going for like $5 million. You get a nice running back for $5 million a year nowadays.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, but man, it's been a moment, man. Zeke was a whole Cowboy part of that history, man. You know what I mean? Big part of that
Yeah,
Cowboy
but I think it wasn't a big surprise that they let him go. The big surprise will be if and with whom he gets picked up. That's what I'm waiting to see.
I don't think he's going to get picked up till after the draft.
That may be.
Yeah, I think once the draft happens and those holes are filled, then we'll start to see. And what's also interesting.
If not then, excuse me, if not then he'll be sitting on his couch and the season will start, or even maybe preseason, and injuries start to hit and he'll get a call.
I think so. He's got some juice left. He's not completely.
Oh yeah.
He's not completely washed up. And let's talk about Aaron Rodgers for a moment. So Aaron, this is funny, and it's on our page, Ben. It's been said. Now, Aaron Rodgers refutes some things, but it's been said that he only spent 2 of his 4 days in the dark room. That he left the dark room early.
I thought that was a joke, and then when I read that, I was like, it's even a bigger joke now.
But apparently, people were saying that he wanted to bring along all of these players, and he went on the Pat McAfee show and talked about it. Did you hear his conversation?
Part of it, I was a little distracted because when it was on, I was doing something else. What I do believe, though, is I think they already had Alan Lazard on their radar.
Yes,
they probably
that was pre before.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, the Facebook articles made it sound like he wrote a list and handed it to the GM. And I believe he refuted that. He's like, it's not like I made a list and said, here, these are the guys I want. He said it wasn't like that. But he didn't really say what it was like. You know what I mean? Or did he?
Well, Aaron has a way of talking,
Yes, he does.
and it's funny because I think they train NFL players how to give an interview and really don't say anything.
You get that in college.
Huh?
You get that in college.
You get it in college. Well, they perfected it in the pros for sure. And you're right, because I've kind of heard coming out of the combine when they do the interviews and stuff like that, some of those guys say that. But he said something about that he came out of the darkness thinking he was going to retire, but then hearing that the Packers were talking about moving on from him, he decided to play.
Of course, because it has to always be somebody else's fault.
Something's good.
That's typical Aaron Rodgers.
So you weren't worrying about the Jets when you came out of the darkness, but now you can use the Jets to get back at the Niners. He's still whining about Jordan Love, and that draft, But he says and this is the couple things he said also. He said, arguably, he's the greatest Packer of all time.
Ay, caramba.
But unarguably, he has the longest tenure of any Packer. He's been there the longest. But he's got 18 years or something like that.
He might be right.
He might be right on that one. It's going to be close. I don't know. I didn't look it up to refute it at all. But he says nobody's bled more green and gold than him. He loves the people.
I don't know about that.
Huh?
I don't know about that. Wearing a uniform and bleeding the colors is two different things.
Two different things. Yeah, I know. But when they talked about him giving the Jets a list of people, it didn't sound out of the realm since he had already done that with the Packers.
Exactly.
It didn't make a lot of sense because the Jets have a pretty nice little wide receiver room as it is, and they're all young.
Right.
So for him to bring in the old heads, like they're going to come in and teach these young whippersnappers how to get open, and I don't know about all of that, But he said that's not what he did. So what he says his intention is to play for the Jets, and now it's in the hands of the Packers. It's about what they want for restitution and et cetera, et cetera. But it's still a $60 million contract that the Jets have to free money up for.
Okay.
Because they don't have $60 million under the cap. So there's going to be some movement within the Jets, and we'll see if that is taken happily or angrily by the rest of the Jet team. If they're happy about it or if they're not happy about it when they see what has to be done to make the moves. So we'll keep an eye on this, but at least Aaron spoke. He came out of the darkness and he spoke.
Well, from what I've heard, from the Jets players that did kind of weigh in on social media, they're thrilled to death. They understand where they're at as far as the team, as far as they are as a team, and their quarterback situation. They might be young, but they're not stupid. They're looking forward to this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, but so far everything's been hunky-dory, and they're looking forward to it. I'm waiting for the time when Aaron does what he did to the young receivers last year who didn't gel right away, and he was acting like he was the coach, and he was, really coming down on them, man,
And that was a consideration when this deal first started getting talked about. Would he fit in the locker room with so many young players, especially on young players on the offensive side, guys that are going to have to actually gel with him to make the offense really run. But knowing and watching a guy like Aaron Rodgers, I would not be surprised in the least if he goes over there and becomes a freaking Boy Scout.
Changes his stripes completely, eh?
Has all the receivers over his house playing catch in the backyard and barbecuing for him. I'm telling you, man, this guy is something else. He's a piece of work. I would not be surprised.
Well, that would be great for the Jets. That would be great for the Jets, and they're hungry. They are very, very hungry. And the other thing is how he's going to gel under Robert Saleh. I don't know how much of an authoritarian or how much, Robert's going to give him in terms of leeway, et cetera, et cetera. It looks like he's going to give him as much as he wants,
I don't know about that. Saleh is not LaFleur.
No, he's not.
They're two different guys.
No, he's not. But he does have Hackett there. So there's a buffer between him and Saleh, which is funny because Hackett's done nothing anywhere else other than
with Aaron Rodgers.
With Aaron. And I think I said before, I don't think it's hard to be I don't think it's that hard to be a good coach with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback. It's like
well, I think Hackett found out what's hard is trying to turn Russell Wilson into Aaron Rodgers. Don't work. It don't work.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same.
So now he won't have to make any magic now. He'll have the genuine article and he can just go on, All
right. Well, we shall see how that goes. Okay, Benny. So one of the things that came out of free agency, we just wanted to do a shout out to our local talent, Mr. Corey Clement, who got re-signed to a one-year contract by the Cardinals. I thought it was a little ironic that Corey still got a job and Zeke is out. It just, to me, that's kind of a weird thing. But yeah, Corey's still hanging in there, man. You got to give it to him. He's got 5-6 years in now?
Yeah, the great thing is, I forget how many years you got to be in before you're, what do you call it, tenured?
I think 5.
Okay, so he's just about accomplished that if this is not his 5th year. The other good thing is, as long as he stays on a team, the opportunity to really show what he can do exists. He's always a big game away, an injury away. You know what I mean? As long as he's active on a squad, he gets an opportunity, or the opportunity is there for him. All he has to do is stay in shape, stay in the playbook, and be ready.
I think he will. I think he will. Benny, I have here an article. Now you're coaching these guys now, and they still wear cleats, right? I know it's flag, but everybody's still wearing cleats.
You got to wear cleats to play football.
Have you ever seen anything like these cleats out there in the PTTFL? These are all special editions named after superheroes.
No, I haven't seen them. I have seen custom cleats
in the PTTFL.
Yes, but not these particular ones. I've seen custom cleats where guys got their names or their nicknames or stuff like that professionally done on their cleats.
Okay.
I think they airbrushed the stuff on or whatever.
Okay. But I'm am I out of it, or have cleats become a new thing where everybody's running around with these super duper cleats now?
Yeah. Well, they look super duper. They're really just regular cleats. I mean, there's particular ones that are more popular than others. But the way they look, the crazy colors and all that, that's enhancement. But they look nice. They look really nice.
Okay. I mean, like I said here, I thought when we put a pair of white cleats on, we were just killing it. White.
Bro, I remember when I was in high school, we all wore black cleats. And then Joe Namath started wearing white cleats. And that set everybody off. Oh my God, I need white cleats.
It wasn't Billy White Shoes Johnson?
No, Joe Namath came first. Joe Willie White Shoes.
Joe Willie White Shoes. Well, that's the fun of messing around with a bunch of old guys. We actually kind of remember what it used to be like, man. And this just looked amazing to me. You know, I'm surprised they don't have the cleats that light up when you walk, like the sneakers.
It's coming. I'm sure it's coming.
That might be my next idea. Let me Barry, keep that. So, Benny, there's some rule changes that are being discussed. And I have the article here from the NFL page where they're talking about some of these rule changes. I'm just going to scan through this real quick, and then we can do just some stream of consciousness discussion on it. So apparently, Eagles' proposal to allow players to wear number 0 is among a 9 rule change that has been submitted. All right. And I'm not sure what the big deal about 0 is. It would theoretically allow players to choose that digit and mark the first time an NFL player wore 0 as a jersey number since 1981. So apparently that's when they ruled it out. And some of the other submissions here, let's see. What else did the Eagles have? The number change. Philly also submitted a proposal that would permit a team to maintain possession of the ball after score by substituting one offensive play, a 4th and 20 from the kicking team's 20-yard line in place of an onside kick. So I think the XFL is 4th and 15.
Yes.
So the Eagles have said 4th and 20 as opposed to 4th and 15. So basically, if you get it, you get that first down, then you get to keep the ball and keep the drive going. If not, you give the ball up on the 20-yard line. So, what do you think about that rule?
I don't know. Let me ask you this. And maybe you know this and maybe you don't. If you don't, I don't either. I'd have to look it up. Is this something that can be done at any point in the game? Or do you have to be losing to have this option? And does it have to be at a certain point in the game? Because this sounds like an option in lieu of an onside kick, which you obviously can't have an onside kick in the XFL because of the way they line up for kickoffs.
Well, it does say in place of an onside kick in the article.
Okay. All right. So now, can you only do it in the 4th quarter, or can you do it at any point during the game?
Well, I definitely don't know whether or not they've made any of anything that specific. If you're generally only going to do an onside kick when you're in a sort of a desperate situation. You know what I mean? That's when you basically do onside
necessarily.
Kicks. Well, nothing's 100%, but that's mainly when you do it. I mean, if you just want to trick them. I mean, most people don't come out and with the first kickoff of the game and make it an onside kick anyway. That's just generally not done. Not to say it can't be done. Anything's possible. We saw the Saints onside kick at the half in the Super Bowl, right? And made all the difference. But
Right.
generally,
But I guess my point is, if you're in comeback mode and you score, but you're still down, you don't want to turn the ball over to the other team if you have an option where you can keep the ball and possibly score again and get closer or take the lead. But that could be in the second quarter.
hey,
You could
if
be
you went to the ref and said, "Hey, we were thinking about doing an onside kick. We'd like to do a 4th and 20."
you don't even have to
I
mention
don't see why
onside
you
kick.
couldn't do it at any point in the season, any point in the game.
That's my question. Is there a regulation that says you can only do it in the fourth quarter? And the reason I'm asking this is because, and I'll go over this really quick. In flag football, after the 2-minute warning of the end of the game, if the team that is losing scores a touchdown, they have to kick off to the other team, but the other team has to return the ball past their own 20-yard line. If they do not, then the kicking team gets the ball back at their own 40.
Wow. Okay.
In lieu of an onside kick. But you can't do it until after the 2-minute warning.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's the reason I'm asking, you know?
Well, these are just proposals. They're not finalized yet. So, we'll have to follow this up and see how these proposals go. The Chargers have a proposal here to make the adjustment of the play clock following an instant replay reversal consistent with other timing rules. Not sure what that means, but that's apparently Rule 4, Section 6, Article 3, and Section 7, Article 4. So that they're talking about. The Detroit Lions want to expand the coach's challenge system to include personal fouls called on the field. Personal fouls.
That's going to slow the game down.
Okay.
These guys are going to be.
That could, but I mean, what would be a personal foul, for example? Holding?
No. Face mask,
that type of
tripping, blocking the back.
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
Okay. Detroit wants to provide clubs more opportunities for a third challenge. What do you get? 2 challenges per half
I
now?
think. I believe so.
So they want to add a third challenge in there, which makes sense if they also want to include personal foul. So they want to give you that extra challenge to cover the.
Yeah, those 2 things will probably go hand in hand.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then Detroit also wants to expand the replay officials' jurisdiction to allow for consultation regarding penalty assessment. So Detroit has some ideas here about what they want done. Houston wants to expand the replay officials' jurisdiction to allow for review on failed 4th down attempts. I didn't know that they couldn't. So, failed 4th down attempts. The Rams want to make fouls for roughing the passer called on the field subject to replay assist and/or review by a coach's challenge.
I like that one.
You like that one?
I like that one.
Yeah, there's some weird roughing the passer.
Yes, there are.
There's some real roughing the passer.
Some of those need to be reviewed because I'm telling you, I think these refs see something or think they see something in real time, and then when they look at the replay, they're like, "Oh no!" Like the guy brushes by the quarterback and he falls, or it looks like a hand to the face, but he just brushes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Those kind of things. Yeah, I agree with that one.
And then the Jets want to expand the crackback block prohibition to players who go in motion and go beyond the center to block. I guess that's called a split flow block, to block a defender below the waist. So I guess if you went into motion now and you hit a defender below the waist, that's okay. and they want to prohibit that.
I agree with that one also.
Oh yeah.
Because the guy in motion has a big advantage over the person that's set.
So those are some of the rules changes that are being proposed. And so you like the roughing the passer one, and you like that last one with the crackback or the block below the belt
Yes.
by the motion guys.
Yes.
Safety first, safety first. So I can understand that. It reminded me, remember when Tua went down I think the first or second time, and I was saying he got
so many.
Yeah, but he got pushed and he just kind of backed up and he fell back and hit his head. And I said to him, every running back that I know of knows how to fall. And he just looked like he didn't know how to fall. And it looked like that to me because of the way he fell. And I'm like, you tuck and roll, dude. You just don't fall back and let your head whip down into the ground. So apparently he's taking jujitsu lessons now. That's going to teach him how to fall and how to roll and how to do all of that kind of stuff. Hopefully it will also increase his body strength and control, because I think that's a part of the issue. But yeah, he's taking jujitsu lessons now.
He'll probably get a concussion in class.
Are you serious? Stop it.
Give me a break. Come on, man.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's what's happening with that. All right, Benny. So we're going to run down the teams here and take a look at who has what, and that gives us some idea about what the strategies of these teams are going to be, especially through free agency, because like I said, some free agency people, they sign you, then it gets to a point where they go, okay, we're going to hold off until after the draft. And then once we've filled in our holes, what we can with the draft, then we'll go back and pick up the rest of the free agents. So let's start off with the Arizona Cardinals. They have a one round pick. They're number 3 overall. They've got a second round 34, 2/3 66 and 96, a 4th at 105, a 5th at 168, and 2 6th rounds at 180 and 213. So that's your Arizona Cardinals there. The Falcons are picking 8th overall in the first round. They've got a second round at 44, a 3rd at 75. They've got a 4th at 110 that came from the Titans. They've got a 5th. Oh, no. Okay. Maybe they got 2 4ths. They got a 110 and a 113 from the Titans. They have a 5th, 159 from the Jaguars. And they have 2, looks like in round 7, 224 and a 225 from the Raiders. So the Falcons have a first round pick too, 8th overall. There could be a quarterback left in the draft at 8, Benny.
I'm sure there will be.
Next up, we have Baltimore Ravens. They have one number 1 at 22, no number 2. They got a 3, number 86, a 4, 124, a 5, 157, and a 6 at 199. But if they get their way with Lamar, they'll get 2 first rounders because of the non-exclusive tag that they put him if somebody picks him up. No offer sheet has been discussed on the media yet. As of 4 o'clock, teams were able to provide an offer sheet to Lamar. Nothing has been done so far. So that's, I think they have, I'm not sure until a certain time to get that done, but it's, there's still time to do that.
Not till July, I think.
Okay. All right. Can you imagine?
They're not going to, if anybody offers him something, they're going to match it. If they don't, they're idiots. Because 2 number 1s is nothing compared to what they could have got if they just freaking traded it. If you're just going to dangle him out there like you could care less whether you keep him or not, and you're willing to take 2 number 1s at this point, you could have traded him for 2 1s, 2 2s, and 2 3s for the next 3 freaking years. But instead of doing that, you play footsie with him all this time. Come on. Dumb.
And the question is coming up as to whether or not the relationship has been damaged. But Lamar did tweet something that he was offered a fully guaranteed 133 for 3 years, which he thinks vindicates his need for or lack of need for an agent, apparently. But I think having an agent would have kept the personal feelings out of the situation a little bit more. So that's kind of where that stands. Buffalo has a number 1 pick near the end, number 27 overall, but they do have a first round pick. 1 in round 2 at 59, round 3 at 91, 1 and 4 at 130, 1 at 5 at 137 from the Cards, and round 6, number 205. So there's that. The Panthers have a number 1 pick. Yeah, that Bears trade kicking in here, where the Bears gave up the number 1 pick and got a boatload of picks back from the Panthers, but the Panthers now have the number 1 overall pick. You want to guess who they're going to take?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. There's a good chance they'll go chalk and they'll go for Bryce Young. But for some reason, I got a funny feeling they're going to take C.J. Stroud. They're definitely going to take a quarterback with that number 1 pick overall. There's no other reason to move all the way up to that pick. It's got to be one of those 2 guys. Personally, I think C.J. Stroud is going to be the more durable and less. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say more durable. He's the less risky pick of a guy who can probably they can probably get ready to start immediately. Bryce Young is a little riskier, but still is a guy who could probably start right away. So we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, I just saw something pop up here. Miles Sanders, the ex-Eagle, is now with the Carolina Panthers also.
Okay.
They'll be signing him in another day or so.
All right. Well, they have a number 2 at 39. They have a round 3 at number 93 from my beloved Niners. They got a number 4. They have a 14 and a 32 from my Niners, and they have a 5th round and one at number 145. Doesn't look like they have any 6th rounds at all. All right. Speaking of the Bears, they have the number 9 overall from the Panthers. That ain't bad, especially if you're not necessarily tied to getting a quarterback. Round 2, they've got a number 53 and number 61. I won't even go into front who they came from. Round 3, they got a 64. Round 4, they have 2 picks, 103 and 133. Round 5, they have 136 and 148. And round 7, they got 218 and 258. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 picks that they have right there. Not bad. That's a haul. That's a haul. Okay. So that's your Bears. Your Bengals are going straight through round 7 with 1 pick in each. They are number 28 overall in round 1. So they're picking 60th, 92nd, 131, 163, 206, and 246. So that's their picks from 1 through 7. What do you think the Bengals need? What do you think they'd be going after? Because they let Bates go. They let their safety go.
Yeah, they're going to need a little help on defense, but they're also going to need help on the offensive line. They didn't completely fix that yet. Even from the year they were in the Super Bowl, what was that, 2 years ago? A year ago?
Okay.
So I think they'll go offensive line first, most likely. I heard rumors that they might be ready to move on from Joe Mixon, so they'll be looking for a running back. That 28th pick overall is around the area where the number 1 or the consensus number 1 running back coming out of college may still be there. So it's going to be interesting to see who goes after Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, it will be. I've heard people talk about Dallas.
Yeah, I heard
As a
that too,
landing
but
spot for
well,
him.
we didn't get to them yet. But at number 28 overall, he may still be there, and the Bengals may be interested.
It's interesting with the running backs. I still think running backs are such an interesting position now as they've changed in their way, because before you get the running backs, you're going to have your quarterbacks, you're going to have your edge rushers, potentially a couple linemen.
Under normal circumstances, that is true, but this is a late first rounder. You can get linemen in the second round that can be beasts. You know, it depends on how the first round goes. The first 27 picks will probably dictate what Cincinnati does at that spot at 28.
They'll be sitting around waiting. The Cleveland Browns have no number one. They're picking number 42 in the second round, 98 in the third. They've got 2 in the fourth, 111, 126. 2 in the fifth, 140 and 142. And they have a 6 in the seventh round pick. So there's Cleveland right now. Here's your Dallas Cowboys. They're picking 26
Look,
overall.
we're 2 picks before the Bengals. Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh.
That
And then they
that'll
have
probably, whatever they do will tell the Bengals what they need to do. If they take Bijan Robinson, then the Bengals can go ahead and take an offensive lineman. If they don't, then the Bengals have to make a decision.
who do you see relative to the draft in terms of other running backs? You have another running back or two that you like?
Not on the top of my head. That he stands out because he's the clear best running back in the class. I'd have to look at some other names, but to remind myself, I haven't dug that deep into the draft yet.
Okay, all right. Well, here's Denver. No first round, no second round.
Oh God, they're a mess.
Round 3, they got 2. Round 4, they got 1. Round 5, they got 1. And they have round 6. There's no round 7. So they're only in 4 of the 7 rounds. So the coach better make sure he gets what he needs in free agency, because he don't have a lot of options in the draft here. So they got the right coach for the job, though. They got the right coach for the job. All right, the Detroit Lions. They have a first round. They got 2 in the first round, number 6 and number 18. Did that 6 from the Rams? Does that have anything to do with Goff?
That may be left over from the golf trade. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They've got 2 in the second, 48 and 55, 55 from the Vikings, 1 in the third, no fourth, 1 in the fifth, and 2 in the sixth, no seventh. So they're picking round 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6.
I would say real quick, it's pretty obvious that they need to go defense right away. And they hit a home run with their first round pick last year with the kid Hutchinson, the edge rusher. So if they're lucky again, they got 2 picks in the first round. They can really go a long way to fixing their defense with some new young talent.
Yeah, they were one of the ranking differential teams that we talked about, with a top-notch offense and the bottom feeder defense.
In fact, they got 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s. If I'm them, I'm going defense with all 4 of those picks.
Yeah, but
And
they just switched up on their running backs too.
Yes, they got Montgomery from the Bears.
Yeah,
he's going to step in. Looks like they're going to. I don't know 100% yet because they haven't made it official yet. But I think they're going to let Jamal Williams go. And Jamal Williams was one of the league leaders in scoring touchdowns last year. So now you take him out, you plug in Montgomery, who has basically the same running style and is probably a little bit bigger. And then you got a nice 1-2 punch with him and Swifty, DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, I don't know if Swift's going to be there. They just signed Charles Harris.
Swift.
I'm not real familiar with him.
Swift will be there.
Okay. We shall see. We
He
shall
was a
see.
#1 pick. You don't give away #1 picks after a couple of years. Don't do
First
that.
round pick, you mean?
First round pick. That's what I meant.
Okay. Okay. All right. We shall see. We shall see. Well, here's your Packers. They have a number 15 overall. Think there'll be a quarterback there?
Why do you say that? Wait. I'm the one who don't believe in Jordan Love, remember?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why I said, do you think there'll
Okay.
be a quarterback sitting there? That's why I asked you.
Jordan Love to me is a bust until he proves otherwise. So yeah, number 15, there'll be quarterbacks there. It's just a question of are they willing to stick their necks out and take one?
I can see Love now. I'm so hurt. They took a quarterback in the first round. I can't imagine. They trying to
I
replace.
know. Wouldn't that be crazy?
They said, where you get that from? Well, I learned it from Aaron. Aaron told me that's how you're supposed to act. He learned it from Brett Favre. it's
a Packer tradition.
Well, they have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have all the rounds except 6. No 6th round. They have 1 in each of the first 4, 2 in the 5th, and 1, 2, 3.
They got 4 in the 7th.
4 in the 7th round. Now they picked 256. Isn't that Mr. Irrelevant?
Oh, I don't know. Is it?
I
Is
think
that the
it
last
might
pick?
be.
That's close to the last pick.
Yeah, I think they might get to Mr. Irrelevant this year.
Well, I tell you what, I cannot remember another Mr. Irrelevant besides Brock Purdy. I can't remember another guy before him that actually made an impact. I'm sure there was somebody.
Yeah, the guy before him got a lot of commercials. He had like long hair. We actually had a thing with him on our page.
Wait, didn't he go to Raiders?
I think maybe so. But I know he had long hair, and I know he was getting commercials and everything like that. He played pretty good. He got a little run, and I know he was on our page, but I don't remember who he was.
Yeah, so. I don't. We'll have to check on that. I don't think he was like a special teamer or something.
Yeah, well, he was on the squad though. He made the squad. All right, Houston Texans with my man D'Amico Ryan. Okay, D'Amico, what you got to work with? You have 2 in the first round, number 2 and 12 from the Browns. That's that Deshaun Watson trade, I'm sure. 1 in the second round, 2 in the third, again from the Browns. 1 in the fourth, no 5th round. They have 1, 2, 3 in the 6th. Number 203 from your Giants there. And they have 1, 2 in the 7th. So they're only missing the 5th round. But they've got 2 in the first round there and 1 in the second round. So that'll be interesting to see. Numbers 2 and 12. So they picked 2nd overall after Panthers, Carolina. Yeah. So the Carolina's 1 and Houston's 2. Yeah, 2 and 12, much less. So that's going to be interesting. D'Amico's got something to pick from. All right, your Colts are picking number 4 overall. And did they just pick up a quarterback?
Who?
The Colts.
The Colts? Oh, geez.
I know they picked up an edge rusher from my Niners, and I'm just wondering if they, for some reason, I thought that they picked up somebody, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. So that means they might be in the running for a quarterback, because they did just let what's his name go, who he had last year, Matty Ice.
They let him go?
Yeah, they let Matty Ice go.
Yes, Colts set to cut ties with Matt Ryan. So that leaves them with Nick Foles and Sam Ehlinger.
So they might be picking they might be looking at those quarterbacks too.
Right. Also, so they're picking number 4 overall.
Yeah.
That's a good play. They'll get somebody.
No doubt. So it looks like they're missing round 6, but again, they've got number 4 in round 2, number 35, round 3, number 79, round 4, 106. They've got 1, 2, 3 in the 5th round and 2 in the 7th round. So they'll be busy Beavers for sure at the Colts. Jacksonville, who has playoff aspirations, Super Bowl aspirations. Hey, Ben, Jacksonville and Philly were the only teams that had a pistol formation, and the only play that they were running was the Philly special.
Okay.
Out of it. So both of those guys had the Philly special in their playbook. So
It's
Jacksonville. Huh?
Dougie P.
Dougie P, that's right. Number 24 overall in the first round. Number 2, round 2, they got a 56. Round 3, 88. They got 2 in the 4th round, 3 in the 6th round, no 5th round, and round 7 they have 1. So Jacksonville will be on the clock through the 7th round. Here's your Kansas City Chiefs. They're picking almost next to last in the first round. Let me get that straight here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're in all 7 rounds. They have 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 6th, and 2 in the 7th. Who do you think that the Chiefs are looking? I mean, we know they needed to shore up their defense. They let their rusher go on their D line, Clark.
Yeah, they're going to miss him. There's a couple routes they can go. Let's see. They're picking 31st overall, and then the next pick is 63rd. They let Juju Smith-Schuster get away.
Yeah.
He went to New England. But wait a minute. Did they swap receivers with New England? Where did Jacoby Myers go? Anyway, there's a good chance they go for the top receiver. Because without Juju, their receiver core was already kind of mediocre. But because they had Patrick Mahomes, they made it work. But I mean, they can't just keep on plugging people in. That's kind of crazy. And as little bit of respect I was giving Juju, and he did not have a great season last year. No, Jacoby Myers went to the Raiders.
Okay.
He had a pretty good second half in that Super Bowl, and he contributed mightily to them winning.
Yeah, he came alive, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he had like a series or something where he was like the man.
Yeah, he made some critical catches
in the Super Bowl.
Kept drives alive. And I know Eagle fans don't want to hear it, but 4 possessions, touchdown, 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 field goal. That's a rough second half, fellas.
Okay. The Raiders. So Garoppolo's there now. They're picking number 7 overall in the first round. They've got 38 in round 2. They've got 1, 2 in round 3. And 100 is from the Chiefs through the Giants. They're in round 4, 109. They've got 1, 2, 3 in round 5, 2 in round 6, and 2 in round 7. So they're going to be busy, guys, and they got a lot of picks. They better pick up another tight end now that they let Waller go to your Giants.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a priority for them. They got to work on that defense.
They better give Garoppolo other than Devontae another security blanket for him. But you know something? It's funny because Kittle actually had better numbers under Purdy than he had under Garoppolo. And I used to complain about, him not getting a lot of play under Garoppolo. I thought that they should have thrown to him a lot more and utilized him as a receiver a lot more. But he got that with Purdy for some reason. So why they
Well,
didn't
I
do it
tell
with
you, it's
Garoppolo?
funny. It's been reported that Devontae Adams is not happy with this Garoppolo move. Now, I don't know what that's based on, but evidently he made some Instagram or Twitter, I think it was on Twitter, he made some cryptic comments that sounded kind of negative after the Garoppolo deal was completed. So I don't know what his beef is, but
Well, that was his boy. They was boys from college, him and Carr.
no, okay, but he wasn't. It didn't sound like he was mad that Carr was gone. It sounded like he was mad that Garoppolo was there. It
Well,
was
there's a lot of
negative.
questions as to whether or not Garoppolo is an upgrade to Carr. You let Carr go, like he can't get it done, and then you go get Garoppolo, and there's some
Well, he
questions.
hasn't gotten it done. He hasn't gotten it done.
Neither one of them has gotten it done. Garoppolo's gone further in terms of making it to the Super Bowl, but
Well, that's as close as getting it. Carr has what, 2 playoff victories?
that's
That's
about
nowhere
it.
close to getting it done.
Well, and then Carr, when you start to compare the teams, Garoppolo was on better teams, so there's always a
Okay.
question as to whether Garoppolo got there as much because of the team he was on as it was for the fact that he's his skill level
Well,
as a quarterback. And Garoppolo definitely has not had the ability to stay on the field as much as Carr has. Carr has stayed on the field a lot
yeah,
better.
but Carr's time with the Raiders was done. There's only so long you can stay on a team as a quarterback and not take them further in the playoffs. Being a quarterback is kind of like being a coach. Like, you only get so many chances. If we keep losing in the first round, something's got to give. And it ain't going to be a running back or a receiver. It's going to be the coach or the quarterback.
Brain
That's where
trust
the
got to
chip
go.
somebody got to go. Just for no other reason than we have to change something, because as long as we stay pat with these guys, this is how far we're going to get. So, yeah, they might be kind of just throwing a dart blindfolded with Garoppolo, but it could work. Now, whether or not he can take them further depends on what they do with the rest of the team. They could have kept Carr and tried to improve the rest of the team, but they decided, you know what? We're going to let this guy go. Garoppolo's cheaper. So now they have more money to give him weapons, fix the defense, do what they got to do. I don't think it was a bad move. I think it was actually a good move. Yeah, considering they wanted a veteran, and I don't know, we didn't get to the Raiders, so I don't know where they're picking in the first round, but I don't think a rookie quarterback was an option for them. So they took the best guy that was available, free agency wise, and that was Jimmy G.
Okay. All right.
And he's reunited with his old offensive coordinator from back in the day.
Yeah. 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 That's true.
So we'll see.
All right. We're looking at the Chargers here, Benny. Looks like they have one pick in all 7 rounds. And in the first round, they're picking 21 overall. So they're going 21, 54, 85, 125, 156, 200, and 239.
Mm-hmm.
So
again, another team that needs help on defense.
Yes, and I'm a little surprised at the way they're treating Austin Eckler. Like, they basically letting him go.
Well, they allowed him to test the waters. Is that correct?
Something to that effect. Yeah, but I think, okay, I'm not going to say whether he requested it. I don't think he requested a trade, but there's Austin Eckler as a free agent. I mean, that guy's is highly skilled. He's super strong for his size.
Extremely.
He can catch. He can help a team.
He had 107 receptions last year. I remember that clearly because I just saw it earlier today. They were talking about it. 107 receptions. That's more than some starting receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, yeah. And I think what happened, they had some receiver injuries, and he really picked
Mike
up the
Williams.
slack.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah.
Mike Williams and Keenan Allen both went down a couple times.
He picked up the slack. So there's
Right.
your
So what
Chargers.
it he did request a trade.
Is that what happened?
Yes, he requested a trade. I don't know if this is a contract year for him and he doesn't believe the Chargers are going to pay him, so he wants to go somewhere else. I don't know what's behind the trade request, but they told him go out and see what you can come up with, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, okay.
So he may be moving.
All right, next up, the Los Angeles Rams. No first round pick. They've got a second round one. They've got 2 in the third, no fourth, 3 in the fifth, 3 in the sixth, and 2 in the seventh. So they're going to have to do their homework to find their gems. And I'm not sure who they're looking for either at this particular point.
The Rams need a lot. The Rams are rebuilding. Crazy as that
Rebuilding?
sounds. Crazy as that sounds, they're rebuilding. They're dropping people left and right. Stafford's on the trade block. They just let Jalen Ramsey go. A couple other people are out of there. Who's their number one receiver?
Good question.
You know what I mean? They're
Well,
rebuilding.
he was a guy was from the Bears last year, but he didn't really
Allen Robinson didn't pan out.
didn't really pan out much. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes we say sometimes guys need a change of scenery. Sometimes a change of scenery is not good.
it don't help, right?
Right. He went from being a big time fantasy asset with the Bears, even as bad as their quarterback play was, this guy was putting up numbers, goes to supposedly a better team and does worse, like way worse. I don't know. I have no clue what happened.
Well, Beckham probably didn't help because that didn't give him any. That took some catches away from him. Did you
Well, he
see
had a whole
Beck?
season. Beckham didn't play.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Beckham didn't play last year, did he?
Yeah,
That was
he
the
was
Super
supposed to
Bowl
be a
year.
clear cut number one. Did not get it done.
Did you see Beckham's tape he put out for everybody to see?
Was the workout tape?
Yeah,
I seen a couple of them.
he's snatching that ball with one hand. He looked kind of muscular.
Yeah,
You know,
it's all about the knee, baby.
well, that's true. That's true. But he's moving pretty good. So we shall see how that all works out. Miami Dolphins. Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
Niners East. A
One,
dearth of
two, three,
picks.
four. They got 4 picks altogether.
Well, they got penalized by the league, so they lost their first round
Uh-huh.
with the penalties. They have 1 in the second, 1 in the third, no fourth, no fifth, 1 in the sixth, 1 in the seventh. So they got a light night. They got 4 picks overall. So they better bring their cot and take a nap, and they'll be sitting around to the 7th round trying to find somebody. They got a lot of homework to do to be able to get some good value out of that. So number 51, you figure 32 and 32 is 64. So they're in the latter part of the second round. They're not even in the early part of the second round. So there you go with your Dolphins. The Vikings, total picks 5. Round 1, they're 23rd overall. No round 2. They're 87 in round 3. Round 4, they have 119. Round 5, 158. Round 6 to 11, and no round 7. So when you win, you have a nice winning record. It doesn't help you with your picks at all. So they got a couple, but they do have a first rounder, number 23. And that's ahead of you don't think they're going to take a running back. They got Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's not on the block at all, is he?
Nah,
Okay.
they need to go defense also.
Yeah, that would help them. Round 1. The New England Patriots are picking 14th overall. They have a second round, 46, a third round, 76, a fourth round 105, no fifth. They have 1, 2, 3 in the sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the sixth round and 1 in the seventh round. So there's your Patriots. Your Saints, they got a 29 overall in the first round. 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, no 6, and 2 in the seventh. So they were 7-10 last year. They got 8 picks in this year's draft. There's your Giants, Benny. Number 25 overall in the first round. Who do you think they're going to take in the first?
Offensive lineman, the best one on the board.
Okay. 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, 1 in the sixth, and 3 in the seventh round. So you guys will be working the whole draft. You got
Might find some value in that seventh round.
Come up
hopefully.
with there you go. All right. So Salah, the Jets, they have and now this is the thing, I don't know what kind of picks Green Bay is going to try to extract from the Jets, but they only have round one, number 13 overall, which is pretty high, the top half. They have 1 in the round 2, 1 in round 3, 1 in round 4, 1 in round 5, and 1 in round 6, no round 7. So the Jets don't have a lot of draft capital.
Maybe that's why it's taking so long for this deal to get done.
Yeah, that could be it.
So that round 1, number 13 overall, they can afford to get rid of that, because what they need on offense is a quarterback, which they will get. What they need on defense, I mean, I'm sure they could use some pass rush help, but their secondary and what have you seems to be pretty much intact. Their defense is pretty good. So they should be willing to give up that round 1 pick. What's going to probably happen is they may have to give up their first and their second, and then they may have to give up a first in 2024 or something. You know what I mean? It's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to command 2 first-round picks no matter where they come from.
Yeah. So that's what they got this year. All right. Next up, the Steelers. 9-8 last year. They have 7 picks. 1 in round 1. They're number 17 overall. 2 in round 2. 1 in round 3. 1 in round 4. No 5. No 6. And 2 in round 7. So they were 9-8 last year.
Yeah, Steelers need a lot of help, but seldom do the Steelers fall deep into rebuild mode. So I expect them to do well in this draft. I'm going to keep an eye on them in this draft and see if they can come up with a couple of gems, keep them afloat.
Okay, all right.
A lot's going to depend on Kenny Pickett's development.
Well, you've seen what he's done already, so he ain't playing no more between now and draft day. So question is, what do they think about Kenny Pickett as of right now?
I think they think he's their quarterback of the future.
I think so.
Not saying they won't draft one later, but
yeah. Well,
speaking of drafting a quarterback later.
Say that again.
I said, I see the next team that's coming up is the San Francisco 49ers. And I said, speaking of drafting a quarterback later.
Yeah, it's going to be later because we have nothing in the first round and nothing in the third round. We got 11 picks overall, though.
No, you got 3 in the third round.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, no first round and no second round. If I didn't say that.
You got 3 in the third round, and I am willing to I'm not willing. I'm almost willing to guarantee, or as Charles Barkley would say, guarantee that one of those 3 third-round picks will be a quarterback.
Really?
Okay. I will bet you $1.
There's no need to bet. We shall see. Again, the whole Sam Darnold thing, I'm like shaking my head. I'm like, see me Christmas, you know.
What? Did you see my text I sent you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Okay, that's the setup.
Okay. Well, like you said, we got 3 in the third. We got compensatory picks for the coaches, the minority coaches who got jobs. So that really helped to boost us, especially in the later rounds. So we have 4 in the 7th round, 1 in the 6th round. We have no 4th round either. So we're missing in 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah, but you
So
got 3 in the third and 3 in the fifth. That
yeah.
ain't bad for real. For a good team, a winning team, a team whose Super Bowl window is still open, you can work with that.
And a team who's obviously, picking a Purdy as Mr. Irrelevant and having success shows that they can pick in later rounds. Hopefully, we have the people still there doing that picking. We didn't lose it too much. They're following D'Amico down to Houston or something like that. So we shall see how that all works out. That's my beloved Niners. And right in our same division, Seahawks. The Seahawks signed their
Danger,
quarterback. Danger.
danger, the
2 in the first
dangerous.
round, number 5 and 20 overall.
That fifth round pick, that number 5 pick rather in the first round, that's going to be a quarterback.
Okay. 2 in the second, 37 and 52. 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, 1 in the sixth, and 1 in the seventh.
Not bad for a playoff team.
No, not bad at all. Not bad at all. And their rookies played really well this past year. So they've done a pretty good job in picking their in the draft. Tampa Bay Buccaneers picking 19th overall in the first round. They got 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the fifth, nothing in the fourth, 3 in the sixth, and 1 in the seventh. So number 19 overall in the first round.
I have no idea what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to do. I got a funny feeling that they're going to try to go with Kyle Trask at quarterback. He's been there for a few years. He played college ball at Florida, so he's not far from, where he's used to being. He knows the system. I've seen him play in the preseason for the last couple of years. He's not a bad QB. He's got the size. He's got the arm. He should have the knowledge. I think they're going to give it a go and try to make him the starter. But I would not be surprised if they pick a quarterback in this draft, if not with the number 19 overall, maybe in the second or third round, they grab somebody, try to work them in behind, because they haven't shown any free agent interest in anybody. So I got a feeling that they're going to go ahead and go with Kyle Trask.
Yeah, you might be right in terms of that. So we shall see how that all works out. But number 19 overall, it's going to be interesting to see which way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go. Tennessee Titans. Why are they why is they even talking about letting Derrick Henry be a free agent? I'm hearing that in the media. I haven't heard it from the Titans, but I'm hearing that in the media. They're picking in the first round, number 11 overall. So that's pretty high. They got 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fifth, nothing in the fourth, 1 in the sixth, and 1 in the seventh. So there could be a quarterback there in the first round at 11. Could be. They think they're ready to give
because
Malik Willis a run for his money?
I don't think Malik Willis is ready.
So they could be then. That could be a possibility. And we're not even talking about all of the trading that goes on during the draft. You know what I mean? So people moving up and giving up their picks and all of that kind of stuff. With the Washington Commanders coming in, picking number 16 overall with their 1 first-round pick. They've got, I don't know why they have 2 round 2s like that, but they've got 2 in round 2. It looks like, is that would that be in round 2? 97? 32 and 32 is 64. Maybe that's a typo. Maybe that should be round 3.
That may be round 3, yeah.
Yeah, for 97. Round 4, 118.
So they got 1 in every round, the 2 and 6 round.
Yeah. And
Okay.
1 and 7.
Okay, another team I'm not sure what direction they're going to head in. I would have to assume that they're mostly going to go defense. They seem to have made up their minds about what's his name, Sam Howell. Is that his name? That quarterback?
Yeah.
And their new head coach, Eric Bieniemy, has been quoted as being very excited to work
I
with
believe
Sam
that's the new
Howell.
offensive coordinator.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to make him head coach so bad. But yeah, supposedly he's been quoted as being very excited about working with Sam Howell. So we will see how that goes. I'm rooting for the guy. You know, I don't want him to win too much because he's in my division. I'm a Giants fan, but you know, I want him to do well. What can I say, man? I tell you what, NFC East is getting really tough. NFC West has been tough, may not be as tough as it was, but it's on its way back, especially with Geno showing his butt last year and really proving that he's not dead yet. The weakest of the AFC East, all of a sudden. Tua should be back healthy. Josh Allen is still there. I don't know what New England has up their sleeves, but if Rodgers goes to the Jets, that makes things very interesting in the AFC East. Very interesting.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Benny. So we covered the draft. We talked about free agency. Let's cover a few human interest stories before we wrap it up, okay?
Okay.
First human interest story I want to talk about is the article here dealing with Michael Irving. Now, I put all of this stuff in the beginning so that people who don't read the articles might read through this.
Right.
Because I thought it was very interesting what they were saying here. I said that the Marriott could be possibly being sued for racial discrimination, right? Apparently, they went to court and they stated in court that the reason for the treatment of Michael Irving, and again, this was from the Dallas Morning News, right? Not the attorney for the Marriott, but this is what the reporting is from a court filing that was submitted. They claim that Irving flagged down the employee as she walked from a bar area in the lobby, allegedly asked her about her work, said he found her attractive, shook her hand, and introduced himself. Excuse me. It said Irving reached out, touched the victim's arm during the conversation without her consent, causing her to step back, becoming visibly uncomfortable, then asked the victim whether she knew anything about having a, quote, big black man inside of her. Now, anybody who's seen the video said, you know, really? First of all, it doesn't look like the movement that they're describing here is what actually happened in the video.
Exactly. That's what it says.
About him reaching out and grabbing, it doesn't look like, I didn't see any of that in the video. And it's hard to believe that that short encounter, he actually said it. And I said last week, I think I said he would have had to say something really like the guy, you know, like a pimple in a corner in order to, have caused this much alarm in that
Right.
short period of conversation that he had.
Right.
It's hard to believe that he actually went there.
Right.
I mean, he would have had to have been drinking heavily and really not be thinking in order to say something like that to a perfect stranger. This
The
just
thing
sounds.
is, what they're describing here that was supposed to have happened and what the video shows kind of don't match. They really don't match. Like if he said those things, that woman should have been appalled. If he said what he said, like they said he said it, she should have been clutching her pearls. She should have been like, what? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I understand what you're saying.
The video doesn't really show that, right?
No, the video seemed to show him walking through the hotel and her coming up to him.
Right. So you don't see him saying, "Hey, come here."
Yeah, grabbing her arm and any of that kind of stuff.
So they know that Marriott had this video all along. And this is the best story they could come up with.
The old big black guy inside you, line.
I hope he sues the day. I hope they change the name to the Irving Hotel.
Look,
It's crazy, man.
it is crazy. And again, nothing on the NFL channel, nothing on the ESPN. And the same thing happened. There's a story on our Facebook page. I'm not going to jump to it right now about Willie McGinest, who again nobody's reporting on.
They're not going to say nothing
media.
about it. He's dead to them.
Apparently, he's facing felony charges now.
Oh, he's done. He's done.
He's
You can stick a fork in Willie.
9 years in prison.
You can stick a fork in Willie. You won't hear his name mentioned on the network no more.
But it still amazes me that you haven't heard him on any other network. ESPN, FS1, CNN, MSNBC. You haven't heard any of this. And as far as I'm concerned, that's serious news. That you have a Hall of Famer, somebody like Willie McGinest.
Yeah, a guy who's like almost one of the faces of a particular network going down like this. You would think that you would hear something about it on at least on MSNBC, at least.
At least. You know what I mean? It's absolutely amazing. And where do you got to find it at? Ben and Barry on football. Really? I mean, this is where you got to come to get that type of information. All right, let me see what we have here. Let's finish up. Ben, I did the long diatribe last week on Ja Morant. But apparently now he's also – now this is interesting. Number one, it says Powerade pulls the ads for Ja Morant, right?
Yes.
So that's one piece of news that came out. The other piece of news that came out was this link. And apparently the place he was at was called Shotgun Willie Strip Club.
Okay.
So, Ben, do you see this room here?
Yes.
Is that money everywhere?
Yes.
They said in a couple of days that he was there, he spent over $50,000.
Yep.
Now, this is what's cracking me up here. Number one, he's going into a rehab. He's looking.
Is he?
Yeah, apparently he's entered rehab here. And he's
what kind of rehab?
Well, he's talking about the need to get help to deal with stress. I don't see stress as his problem. I see a bad attitude.
I see immaturity.
Immaturity as his problem. But he's trying to play the victim here.
Yep.
And, that's not good. That's not good, Now, this is the other thing that I found that's interesting. He signed a contract recently with the NBA for a humongous amount of money. It looked as if the contract that he signed with the NBA was fully guaranteed.
With the NBA or with Memphis?
Well, it was an NBA contract, so with Memphis.
Okay.
And okay, I'm saying upcoming contract extension, 5 years, $194.3 million. I don't know how much of that is guaranteed, however. So that's really the question. You know, he might be sitting on 194 million. I did see an article that said that in his contract, he had some bumpers that if he made like all NBA or something like that, it might mean another 30 million to him.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like he's going to get that. So
Right.
that at least is a $30 million mistake. If you add the in terms of how it affects him, and if you add the sponsorship losses, that's additional money. Don't know how much it is.
Yeah, he had
But
a
if he
brand
gets
new.
that 194 million, if they don't find a way, if they decide not to keep him, to get out of that, if they don't have a behavioral clause or something of that nature in that contract, man, can you imagine him walking away with that much money after all of that? I think he'll be back. I think he's too big of a star not to get, not for them to try their best to bring him back, especially with the way they're talking about, him going into rehab. He's doing things apparently that they want him to do. So he'll come out of rehab, I'm better, and all of this kind of stuff. So I think they'll get him back. But 100, and I didn't know that they were trying to pay him that much money. He was I always said he was my favorite guy to watch, in the NBA, and I'm a Bulls fan, so you'd think it'd be one of my players, but I was even joking with one of the guys today. I said when that last time when they played the Sixers and Embiid blocked his shot near the end, I had to give it to him because he was going for the gusto. Embiid blocked it, but he was going for it.
He goes for it a lot.
A lot.
Now, I don't know how many games he's missed voluntarily, but it looks like he's been officially suspended without pay for 8 games.
Okay.
So I know there's like 10 or 12 games left in the season before the playoffs start. So he'll be back.
For the playoffs, much less.
Yes. But those 8 games are going to cost him, it says here, close to 1.2 million. Just
well, again, and this is kind of like the thing.
And he lost his Powerade endorsement.
So that's gone.
That's gone.
That's done. Okay. All right.
Well, they had ads set up. They pulled the ads. Now, whether they canceled the contract, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a whole nother question. All right. Well, Benny, that's all I got for today.
Well,
you got anything?
No, not really. I'm rooting for the Sixers. I'm hoping the Sixers do well in the playoffs. We're getting close to that time, but I don't want to jump ahead of myself. I'm still not happy with Doc Rivers, but the team seems to be getting themselves playoff ready. Anytime I see James Harden dishing 20 assists in a game, sounds to me like this guy's ready to win. Embiid's been freaking spectacular. How they don't want to give him the MVP, I do not know. But if I'm him, I'm furious, and I'm making everybody pay. Maxey is back in the starting lineup. That's what I've been waiting for. His confidence is high. We got to go. We got to make it to the Eastern Conference Championship, if nothing else. Now, if they go to the Eastern Conference Championship and they get beat, I won't be happy, but I can live with it. If they get beat before that, I'm going to be pissed. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Good enough. All right. Have a great one.
All right, man.